And then we have the new generation, which is XYZ. Those were born in 2015 to present. And this is known as the chip age. And 2020 is significant because this is the year that they call ID 2020. This is the year when they're going to try and chip everybody for identification and bring in that era that Revelations talks about, where no man could buy or do anything unless they have this chip, or the mark of the beast, as they say. Some say it's going to be a chip. We'll see. So these ages, just an idea of the different mindsets that we have, even in this present generation of people. We have, it's like a wave. And we have to keep this in mind when we're looking at these different generations of how we speak to people and stuff, right? So, want to continue? Continue? Okay. All right. So now let's go back to the ancient ages. 4.5 billion years ago. Yeah, not 6,000 years ago. 4.5 billion years ago is actually the original fourth day. This is when the origins of the moon, and actually our solar system is actually 4.5 billion years old. This is when this would have happened. And now, again, this is not dealing with salvation, this is dealing with revelation. So you don't have to believe this, but for those who have the mindset to understand it, this is a revelation of ancient times. So now, there's a thing that's called Nibiru. Today they call it Planet X. And it's real. You look it up. NASA has been tracking this planet that they call Planet X
ever since
for as long as they...
Ever since they had the capability to.
That's right. And this Planet X actually has a 3,600 year orbiting cycle, which means the last time it would have been in this area was when the children of Israel came out of Egypt. So there's a little significance in the timing, because 3,600 years before that would go back to the sixth-day creation. So who are these of the sixth-day creation? If Adam and Eve are the first living souls, who was on the sixth-day creation? Oh, actually before that, let's look a little closer at this. You see, there's this thing called the giant impact hypothesis that you can look at. And what it is, it talks about a planet smacked into the earth. This is the scientific explanation. Now, the spiritual, the biblical explanation goes back to the Enuma Elish tablets, which is something that predates the Bible. And it talks about this impactor that came and hit the earth and put it on its axis, and remnants tore away and was left to rotate around the earth, and this was the creation that formed into the moon. Now, where did this impact happen? Where did this material from the moon come from? Well, it came partially from that planet or orb that hit into the earth, and it formed and gouged out what is known as the Grand Canyon today. That's where the Grand Canyon came from. It came from this impact. And all of that stone from the earth formed with the other portion that come back against the earth to form the moon. And that's why when they went to the moon, they went to the moon. Some of the stones are from the earth. And they're like, how in the world do we have stones from the earth on the moon? Well, it's because it came from the earth. And the reason the moon has such an effect on the earth is because it's from the earth.
Yeah, that's what you're right. But why other planets have some have 1, 2, up to what? Saturn has what, 7 moons?
Yeah.
Why other planets have different moons also?
Yes.
How they came into evolution? Those
Well-
moons on other planets.
Uh-huh. Same way that all of the planets came from the sun. This is a unique occurrence because in this occurrence, the actual impactor comes from Nibiru, which is something of ancient writings. The other planets that have moons, every planet has satellites,
Yeah.
moons.
Mhm.
But this is how this particular moon on our planet came to be. And it's actually from the ancient scriptures that this is coming from. So, we're living on the earth, and the earth is a certain distance from the sun that is an habitable zone. So the other planets would not have the same air we have and everything. So this planet was put in place for a purpose that where it is. And this orb was put in place for a purpose as well. So it's a natural satellite. So the sun and the moon were put in place on the fourth day of creation. This wasn't 4,000 years ago. This was in ancient times.
Yeah.
And this Nibiru is also called Planet X. Is something that is called, well, it's where angels, a certain group of angels dwell. In other words, it's one of the heavens. There are many heavens.
Yeah, there are 7.
So this particular place is where angels that are called Anunnaki dwell. The significance, well, Jesus said, he's going to be returned with his holy angels, with the sound of the trumpet of God, the archangel and stuff. So who are these angels? Well, this goes back to the 6th-day creation of the hosts. Because the hosts are just like us, males and females. This is where the Egyptians started worshiping them as gods and goddesses. But the hosts were basically angelic beings. 3 men came to Abraham. They looked just like men. So they would have been from the 6th-day creation. The host of God, as mentioned in another place in the scriptures. But let's take a little look at this a little closer here. Coming of the Anunnaki. Now this Nibiru is actually said to be a planet ship. And believe it or not, the Earth is a planet ship too.
Yes.
The Earth is in an orbit, and it's going somewhere with the sun. But as you can see here, it's phased to look, you don't see this, but this is similar to the New Jerusalem. The New Jerusalem is described as, now let's look at that for a second.
Yeah, it will be coming down from the sky, the New Jerusalem.
Yeah, where's it going to come down from? From heaven, right? So let's go to uh, 20? 21. Revelation chapter 21.
From the top, yeah?
From the tippy top.
Verse 2 is where
And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there were no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride, adorned for her husband.
Okay, so there's a city that's going to come down from above. Is this a literal city? Or is this a metaphor? Well, let's look a little further here. Read from verse 9, please.
And there came unto me one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials full of the 7 last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee the bride and the Lamb's wife.
No, the bride, the Lamb's wife.
Sorry. Come hither, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God.
Okay, so he showed me that great city. He carried me in the spirit to a high mountain. So this is a spiritual plane that we're dealing with now. So I use this illustration because you see here it's on a face. And in order to be in that same vibration, you have to raise, you have to resurrect to that vibration in order to enter in, or to see it, or for it to be revealed. So this here, high mountain, a holy city, something is going to descend from above. And let's see verse 11 now. It says, having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a great wall and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So we're talking about something that actually has physical representations. So in other words, it's real. Something real is going to manifest and come down from above. And it's going to have 12 gates. And the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. And an angel at each of the 12 gates. So, verse 13, on the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. So the wall of the city has 12 foundations, there's 12 gates, and 12 foundations, and the names of the apostles of the Lamb are in those foundations. So the 12 gates is Israel. The apostles represent the 12 tribes as well. And he talked with me, and had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. So it has a measurement. And the city lieth 4 and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs, and the length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. The angel's pretty big. And the builder of the wall of it was of jasper. The building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. So, we see the city is pure gold. Now, when I read Genesis, when right at the beginning, God's talking about the Garden of Eden and 4 rivers going to 4 heads. And that other blue, he said, and the gold of that land was good. And I always thought, why in the world would he just say out of the blue, and the gold of that land was good? Isn't that kind of weird? And therein is the onyx stone. So these things that he mentioned in Genesis are things that are actually used for the New Jerusalem.
No, but it was used for everywhere his tabernacle and everything was gold.
Oh, yeah.
Even in the wilderness with Moses.
That's right.
Remember they had to cover that with the gold and everything.
That's
and
right.
Yeah.
And Moses was told to make after what he had seen
Yeah.
in the heavens. Right?
God is a rich man. He like gold.
So I just want to show this to say that there's a New Jerusalem that's come from above. And the ancient scriptures talk about this as well. And they talk about something coming from above, down to earth, and now we see the expression of it here in Revelations, having 12 gates. It's the New Jerusalem. And it's actual something that is real. It's not pie in the sky, it's a city in the sky. So, okay, we can take a little break here, and then we're going to come back and go into the earth and the angels.